stop whatever you're doing. Today is a huge day for the unemployed. TikTok is officially banned. The United States have come together, and 40 people have decided that you don't need a democracy of millions to choose when you could just have 40 old people in a room make a decision that'll affect everyone instead. So they've gotten together, and they've banned TikTok. Now, we have a lot to look at today. The deep dive that you are getting today is going to be very funny because Trump somehow... Bro is always involved, dude. Dude did nothing yet. Trump is in the center of this entire controversy. The CEO of TikTok made a specific video thanking Trump for working with him on trying to bring TikTok back. We are living in a timeline where, I'm not going to lie to you, the most anti-Trump people in the world are suddenly recognizing that his stances on anti-censorship are based and are jumping in droves into his firm orange hands. This is potentially one of the craziest situations of all time, and I know Legal is going to get into all the legal hullabaloo, and we'll get to that later. I do love to see Legal blame Trump for this. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. So this dude, Charlie Kirk, made this tweet. TikTok is getting banned for all users in America. Biden had a chance to keep it alive, but he wanted this to happen to overshadow Trump's inauguration. I personally don't believe this is true. I think this is conspiracy theory mode because I don't think Biden wanted anything. I think Biden's brain is a soup right now. I think it's a lot more likely that secret Biden overlords have some sort of plan. I don't think Biden has any thoughts that are relatively coherent going through his mind right now. But anyway, dude, I love it. I love it so much. You have like the Charlie Kirk type people, like the commentators on the right. They're amazing. It's like, Biden is a puppet. He is a muppet. He has no decision-making capabilities. Also, Biden wanted this to happen. It's like, all right, bro, all right. Again, I don't know anything about Charlie Kirk. I just think this is very funny. President Trump could bring it back online and then broker a historic deal. Let's see what Trump does Monday. But this is the notice that everyone is getting now. Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. In the official TikTok statement about being banned in the U.S., they are throating Trump. They're actually throating this man. I'll be real, dog. That's insane. It is insane that Trump could literally win by doing nothing as much as he does. It's honestly terrifying. So anyway, it's not just TikTok. Marvel Snap as well. A law banning Marvel Snap has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use Marvel Snap for now. Rest assured, we're working to restore our service in the U.S. Trump! Please stay tuned. Now, a lot of people are moving to the Chinese Red Note, which is just another Chinese TikTok, except this one is owned by the Communist Party. This is gonna go very well. And they're moving there as like a little rebellion. They're moving to, I love how it's like, oh, this thing was banned. Well, let's move to the Communist Party. China's base. China's so base. Oh, I love how they do things like slave labor. I love when all the woke people go to Chinese TikTok and suddenly be shocked when they only think there's two genders. What? You're transphobic in China. All right, bro, it's China. Chill the fuck out. All right, now it gets even funnier because this is the CEO of TikTok making a statement basically glazing Trump. This is insane. This is wild. Because my favorite thing that's going on right now is, again, I don't use TikTok. I do have an account with like 300,000 followers on TikTok personally because I posted some TikToks there and I realized that TikTok isn't real and the people there aren't actually relevant. There was no way to transfer those millions of views into 1 penny, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that shit. Don't give a flying schmibble about TikTok. So I am technically also getting banned, all right? Me and TikTok are all banned. Me and TikTok and Jaden Animations. It's not easy. So Chinaman himself is making a statement here, apologizing and basically stating what is actually going on with the TikTok ban, while simultaneously deep-throating Trump. It's kind of hilarious how this keeps happening. Now, there's this entire little civil war going on. If it's Trump's fault, if it's Biden's fault, whose fault is it? You got some people on the left blaming Trump. You got people on the right blaming Biden. Ultimately, my stance is censorship bad. Also, Chinese party stealing information, also bad. Now, I don't exactly know what the security breaches were that caused them to make this ban, but I am all for not censoring opinions and stuff like that. So, the irony is, you got some real-ass conspiracy theories. I saw one big conspiracy theory saying that it was the Jews that control TikTok. They're the ones that got it banned because TikTok is releasing the truth about the Jewish cabal. And it's like, yeah, probably not, but maybe. Dude, I love the Jew conspiracy theories. It's always Judaism, every time. Me, Jaden Animations, and the Jews, we've all come together to ban TikTok.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. As you know, We have been fighting to protect the constitutional right to free speech for the more than 170 million Americans who use our platform every day to connect, create, discover, and achieve their dreams.
All right, so just right off the bat. This man is lying through his ass right here. You can hear the whistling of his butt crack. That was the sound of this man's butt crack whistling while his words were coming out. Bro, you did not create TikTok to be a bastion of freedom of speech to use your platform, connect, create, and discover. Bro, you made this to make money. Could all these people stop? Yeah, poor Mark Zuckerberg had to censor information under the Biden administration. Oh, poor Mark Zuckerberg. All these people, they're all the same, okay? They're in this for the money. They're in this for the power. None of them give a flying rat's butt, all right? This guy is getting banned, so he is appealing to the American population to pressure the politicians into bringing it back to make more money. All right, let's be real here. Let's not weave through the mess. This is what's happening.
On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States.
Guys, I don't think you're aware of what we're going to be seeing happen, okay? I don't think that everyone is aware. So I'm going to do my Nuxanor pre-watch moment. All right, we got to put on some Chancellor Palpatine background music. This was all a ploy! It was a ploy. Trump is going to come back after being glazed by the TikTok people. He is going to come back. He is gonna slap his thick, veiny, orange, meaty cock on the table, unban TikTok, and become a hero of the freedom of people. The irony is, Trump has always been fighting for freedom of speech. He's always been out there to fight for lack of censorship. Bro, this is gonna happen. Now, the craziest thing is, whatever, I'll get into more of the conspiracies later, because this is like one of my favorite. Again, I love conspiracy theories. I love chaos. I am not affected by this chaos, which is even better. I am literally here, the sole winner in this war.
This is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship.
Yeah, this guy doesn't give a flying fuck about that, but he knows how to rally the Americans behind him.
As we've said, TikTok is a place where people can create communities, discover new interests, and express themselves, including over 7 million American businesses who earn a living and gain new customers using our platform. We are grateful and pleased to have the support of a president.
He's not even the president yet. He's not even the president yet. How does he keep winning? Oh my God.
Who truly understands our platform.
He's not even the president, bro. Oh my God, everyone is so cooked.
One who has used TikTok to express his own thoughts and perspectives, connecting with the world, and generating more than 60 billion views of his content in the process.
Yeah, I love how he's basically saying, Trump, think about all the propaganda. Think about all the propaganda you could push on TikTok. Oh my God.
To all American users, thank you for making our TikTok community such a rich and vibrant space, for surprising and delighting us every day. Rest assured, we will do everything in our power to ensure our platform thrives as your online home for limitless creativity and discovery, as well as a source of inspiration and joy for years to come.
Yeah, bro basically had a minute and a half glazing Trump and talking about why this would fit, why Trump would be a hero if he reinstates TikTok. And you know what? He's completely right. I think that no one really hates censorship until censorship happens to them. I love how you'll have someone on the left getting, let's say, canceled and shit like that. And suddenly the left is all, oh, we hate censorship. Why would you do this? Why would everyone do this kind of thing? And then someone on the right gets banned and they're like, oh, we hate censorship too. Censorship's so bad. It's always bad. And depending on the way the pendulum swings every single time, just purely on the way the pendulum swings, you'll have different people banned and censored by the administration that is in office every single time. You know, Trump was banned on Twitter before Elon Musk bought it. Trump was banned on Twitter. That is insane abuse of power, like wild abuse of power, to ban him off like one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. But, and of course, at that point, the left cheered, the right cried, and that's literally how it went every single time. Everyone hates censorship only once it happens to them. If censorship is happening to somebody else, no one gives a flying bitch. So all these TikTok Zoomers, they have never experienced censorship before. So this is happening to them for the first time, and they're gonna go full Trump. They are going to go full Trump. He's gonna win them over with this. Okay? You recognize what we're witnessing? Trump isn't gonna buy TikTok. No. Elon doesn't want TikTok back. TikTok's competition to Twitter. Elon doesn't want it. However, and this I think is important to note, a lot of people tried to buy TikTok. Mr. Beast tried to buy TikTok. Kai Cenat tried to buy TikTok. Soldier Boy tried to buy TikTok. Kick.com, the place where I'm streaming right now, tried to buy TikTok. And they have the money, all right? I know for a fact they have the money. So none of them were actually able to buy TikTok. And the reason why, in my opinion, is because there probably is some data mining, scouring, stealing going on by the Chinese government. Probably. That said, I don't really think it matters that much. Again, I don't know what the security risks actually are. We're gonna have to do a deep dive into all of that. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But ultimately, the fact that it didn't sell, I think, definitely goes to show that there is something going on. We'll see. No one knows. But anyway, this is an enactment. I found this. I thought this was important as an enactment. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us in a solution to reinstate TikTok. And this is a visual image of the CEO of TikTok. Yes. Yes. This is a video of the CEO of TikTok himself talking to Trump. The only flaw with this video is the fact that this dildo is not nearly orange enough. But anyway, as we move on. Trump, literally now, it just happened. This just happened at 7:03 a.m. an hour ago. He tweeted, "Save TikTok." Guys, he is literally here. He is literally going to capitalize on this moment so much, bro. He is going to capitalize on this moment so much. Oh my God, it's insane. Load, that's crazy. Anyway, as things move on, James Charles, known anti-Trumper, has made this video, and I think that this is very telling as to what is actually going on.
I gotta keep it real. I am crashing the fuck out right now. I don't know what to do. Oh,
I'll tell you what not to do. Do not send dick pics to any minors. Last time you did that, that was very not cool.
My God.
Allegedly.
I've already opened and closed the app probably 6 times already just to keep getting the same stupid warning message. Oh my God, like this just feel, I can't, this is so dystopian. First of all, I feel.
Really, bro, they banned an app. Okay, dude, chill out. You're 26 years old.
Pathetic that I am freaking out like this. Oh.
I completely agree. Right? Again, I am anti-censorship, but this guy's pro-censorship. This guy was cheering when Trump was banned off Twitter.
For an application being unavailable on my phone, but also like this has been a massive part of our life for the last 6 years. And
if TikTok was a massive part of your life, you had a problem. Okay, listen, like why? TikTok is something that you do when you're taking a shit and you have nothing better to do. Then you go on TikTok, okay? But really, bro? Again, I'm not trying to underplay the trauma that all these people are going through, but I want you to note that I don't actually give a flying fuck. I just want that to be clear. The amount I care is so incrementally little between rounds in a game. Yeah, that's when you use TikTok.
Normally, when something happens,
there are like 4 other TikTok apps that are literally available right now.
I would get on TikTok and start complaining, and I can't even do that. I feel
he can't go on TikTok to complain about TikTok being banned. So what does he do? He's on Instagram to complain. I mean, dude, like, bro, dude, oh, the misery. Listen, I am literally here for the downfalls of everyone else. Okay, listen, you might think that it's mean of me to capitalize on their downfalls, but I appreciate your sentiment.
Feel like disconnected. I feel cut off from.
He feels cut off. Oh my.
The world and my community. This is crazy.
You know why he moved to TikTok, right? Because people on Twitter kept calling him a pedophile for allegedly sexting with like 5 separate minors. Yeah, like that's why he moved to TikTok. This is James Charles. In case you're not familiar with this character's lore, he was allegedly caught with multiple minors in the DMs, and every single time he claimed he didn't know they were a minor, blah, blah, blah. But, like, bro, how do you make that mistake 5 separate times? Okay, dude. All right, dude. All right, okay, you know. So, anyway, then he moves to TikTok. Why has he left Twitter? Interesting.
Crazy. This is fucking crazy.
Oh, my God.
God, and I can't, like, now I'm rooting for Trump.
You heard it here, guys. Nux, the TikTok people are gonna get you. Where are they gonna get me? They're banned. I get canceled on TikTok like every couple of days. There's another like viral TikTok canceling me. Maybe that's shaped my bias a little bit, but bro, I literally don't even care. I literally could not care less. Again, on principle, I'm against the concept that it's banned because I don't like censorship. However, it is very funny watching these people lose their mind. But dude, you have to hear this one more time.
Now I'm rooting for Trump?
Keep that in mind, because I'm going to show you a really crazy line.
Ew! God, like, make America great again, I guess.
He is now rooting for Trump. Make America great again, I guess. All right, James Charles, interesting.
God.
Yeah, so that's pretty wild, especially because this was, again, I'm not going to go through the entire history of James Charles and Trump because no one actually cares. But this one was just from 3 months ago, okay? This was just 3 months ago.
It literally looks like he just stepped out of a fucking Simpsons episode, bitch. He's a guest starring in the Lego movie. It's giving liver failure jaundice. Like, is he okay? God, I fucking hope not.
Subtle Trump death threat, we take those. God, is he okay? I hope not. Yeah, all right, very cool, very cool. So this, anyway, bro makes this James Charles, LGBT activist with nearly 40 million followers, mocks Trump's appearance and suggests he hopes Trump is sick, which he does. Anyway, now James Charles is rooting for Trump. Dude, this is like insane. Wishing the death on a man, wishing death on somebody to rooting for him 3 months later. Honestly, that's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That is like actually very impressive. All right, it's very cool. And of course, people are claiming Trump for TikTok being shut down. This is cool because at least they're not blaming Jews. That's basically the two groups of people that do everything wrong these days. It's Trump and the Jews. Sometimes it's Trump with the Jews. They combine to do incredibly horrible, heinous things. But anyway, James Charles, do not worry. Do not worry. There are other places that you could watch little boys dancing, and I'm sure you'll be okay. But anyway, I was very excited, personally, to talk about all of this because I am the only one with nothing to lose, all right? The people that banned TikTok, they're getting shit on. The people that got TikTok, that their TikTok accounts are banned, they're getting shit on. And I alone stand here to drink the tears of the fallen. Anyway, let's see all the legislature behind this shit. All right, so Legal made a video breaking it down. Very excited to see him blame Trump. Let's go.
TikTok is banned. The Supreme Court refuses to stay the execution of the law that, effective January 19th, forces TikTok to be sold to a U.S. company or to shut down.
Yeah, and a lot of U.S. companies, by the way, wanted to buy it. Kick wanted to buy it. Mr. Beast wanted to buy it. A bunch of billionaires came together trying to buy it, and they're not selling it. I wonder what they have to hide. Again, I don't know.
Might have seen customers react to the US government trying to ban TikTok over concerns that its Chinese parent company could exert too much control and provide information to the Chinese government.
Oh my god, these people are such losers. I love how they moved to Red Note. TikTok gets banned and they move to Red Note. Oh my god, you people suck so much, guys.
By downloading a TikTok clone that is literally run by the Chinese government.
Yeah, definitely much better. If they ban TikTok, then they're banning Red Note too. Like, you really think this will survive?
How did we get here? Now, as you probably know, TikTok is a foreign-owned tech platform operating on American devices.
All right.
Chinese technology company ByteDance launched the app in 2016. It now has over 1.5 billion active users, including about 150 million Americans. Now, many Americans make their living by...
TikTok helped my business grow. I'll be real, I do feel really bad for the people that their businesses are like dying because of this shit. Like, because a lot of people use TikTok as like the front of their businesses. I do think most of these things could be re-implemented on other social media things. But this is insane. Like, I do feel bad for all these people that are suffering. I don't feel that bad because I'm still gonna make content off of your misery and downfalls. Queso grew because of TikTok. Queso grew because he kept putting more food in his mouth, okay? He didn't grow because of TikTok. That was a joke.
Making short films on the app. And TikTok's creators say that other social media platforms lack TikTok's organic reach and collaboration tools. Some have said, quote, they have posted the same content on other platforms for years, but only TikTok has fostered their communities and allowed them to reach broad audiences.
Yeah, every algorithm's different. That is very true. That's definitely valid.
Now, the people who serve in Congress generally don't grow up with social media platforms.
I love that this is a democracy. Guys, we live in such a democracy. 170 million people on TikTok. You know how many votes they got? 0. You know who got votes? 40 old white dudes in a room.
The average age of a senator is 64.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
And the average age of a House member is 58.
Woo!
And that might be one reason members of Congress struggle
no!
with the implications of modern technology,
Listen, Trump will come back and everyone will start loving him for this. Dude, this is insane.
Obviously is global. But for better or worse, the government is responsible for protecting the country from foreign threats, but it also has
I would love for him to actually explain what the foreign threat is. Like, what is actually the fear here? Because when you get like a bunch of old dudes in a room banning something, they might just be like, well, some guy in China is getting our info banned. Like, is that really a threat?
Duty to ensure America.
I mean, let's be real. You think Facebook isn't taking your info? Of course they are, but they're owned by America, so who cares? Like, it's a wild concept. Again, people are finally, the congressman that voted 9-0 bought Meta stock prior. Wow! That's incredible. Dude, that is such an obvious, gross conflict of interest. Holy crap.
Americans have civil liberties. Now, the courts traditionally defer to the federal government in matters of national security. And along those lines, on April 24th, 2024, Congress enacted the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. The law prohibits the distribution, maintenance, or provision of internet hosting services for applications controlled by foreign adversaries. The act identifies China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran as foreign adversaries of the United States who are not eligible to purchase apps.
Interesting. That's wild that's a law. Crazy.
The law officially bars Americans from using apps controlled by those countries. And the law requires ByteDance.
I mean, I do kind of get it. I mean, I guess they are like all adversarial to America.
And specifically to sell TikTok to remove.
But that said, like, what are they stealing? They're stealing like the personal information of some guy that posted like a video of them dancing. It's literally because they might use the data in a future war. Yeah, but what's there? Bro, anyone in America could upload to Billy. Like, what's the difference between TikTok and anything else? Like, it's just because they're owned by another government, and like, it seems like such a lame reason to ban an app.
Quote, foreign adversary control, and failure to comply results in a ban within 270 to 360 days. Now, the Supreme Court generally considers laws targeting specific speech as presumptively unconstitutional. In 2020, Donald Trump issued 2 executive orders banning TikTok, but the federal courts blocked both of those.
Wait, so when Trump wanted to ban TikTok, it didn't work, okay? That failed, they shut him down. But the same ass people, when it came from like the Biden administration, they were like, yes, we're doing this. Bro! It's like, this is insane. Like, why? Did they not want to give Trump a win, so they're accidentally going to give him like the bigger win when he inevitably brings it back?
So many legal commentators felt the new law was also on shaky ground. So when this new law was passed, TikTok and a group of its users sued the government, once again arguing that the act is an unconstitutional intrusion on free speech rights. By banning all online platforms and software applications offered by TikTok and all ByteDance subsidiaries, Congress has made a law curtailing massive amounts of protected speech. Unlike broadcast television and radio stations, which require government licenses to operate because they use the public airwaves, the government cannot, consistent with the First Amendment, dictate the ownership of newspapers, websites, online platforms, and other privately created speech forums.
I'll be real. That makes so much sense to me. That makes so much sense to me, right? Like, this is ultimately just a site for speech, right? It's a site for speech. Obviously, if you upload the schematics to America Tanks, then you're committing treason. Just like if you put it in an email and mailed it directly to fucking Kim Jong-un, it would also be treason. But just posting stuff and conversing on an app that's owned by someone else, like, literally, who cares? Like, this really does seem like a massive stretch. Like, so you're only allowed to actually have conversations online in companies that are owned by Facebook and Twitter? Like, is there any other place that you could really discuss anything these days? Everything's owned by, like, the big America companies.
Now, TikTok claimed that it's an American company headquartered in Culver City, California, which means it has First Amendment rights. Thus, TikTok alleged that courts should apply a legal standard called strict scrutiny. Now, when it comes to reviewing government regulation, what level of scrutiny the court applies is usually the entire ballgame. When a court applies strict scrutiny, the government must show that the law is the least restrictive means of advancing a compelling governmental interest. And that is a very, very hard standard to meet. Strict scrutiny applies when a law regulates fundamental rights like freedom of speech. Now, normally when—
Have you seen the list of information taken from you by TikTok? No, I didn't. I would love to see that. Does he show it in this video?
So reviewing governmental regulation, if it doesn't involve a fundamental right, the courts apply what's called rational basis review, which basically means if the court can find any rational basis for a particular law, it will uphold that law.
Great. So what is the basis? What is the rational basis?
Basically, any law that's reviewed under rational basis review is going to be upheld, and basically any law that's reviewed under strict scrutiny is not going to pass muster and then will be found to be not constitutional. And then
I cannot believe they literally did this 2 days before Trump is president. Oh my God, dude.
There's a third option that's sort of a combination of the two. It's sort of right down the middle. It's called intermediate scrutiny. That's used when laws involve a right, but one that's not fundamental. Now, the US government argued that the act doesn't implicate the First Amendment at all. The government rejected plaintiffs' assertion that TikTok is a US company entitled to free speech rights because it's a subsidiary of ByteDance.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Like, again, I feel like everyone's dancing around wordplay here. I just wonder what the actual threat is. It's so ironic. Like, I hate being on the side of the TikTokers, but I don't know why they're banning it. Like, I don't want to be on their side here because they're cringe. And that's a crime in my book. Obviously not. But I don't know. It's hilarious. Bro, so sell TikTok to someone else. Sell it to an American guy.
And ByteDance, as a foreign company, does not receive free speech rights. But what about TikTok's American users? Well, the government claimed that the act doesn't regulate their speech at all. Americans remain free to say whatever they want on other platforms, and in fact, they would continue to be free to say whatever they wanted.
Yeah, but there's a problem with this, right? Because every platform is owned by someone. Every platform is literally a private company owned by literally someone. There's always a fear on whether it's a broadcaster or it's a publisher, whatever it is. The problem is, what's the alternative? Okay, if there was some sort of worldwide free speech forum with literally only freedom of speech, this is a legitimate argument. But you get people banned everywhere else for different reasons, all right? COVID misinformation got people banned from YouTube and Twitch and whatever. So those guys are screwed. That is not a freedom of speech platform anymore. It's a private publisher. They're allowed to stop things. So Twitter also bans people. It banned people back in the day. It still bans people now. It bans less people now, but it still bans people. Can you get banned on 4chan? 4chan's anonymous. Like, the concept is good in theory, that it's like, we're not hindering your freedom of speech or freedom of expression. You could always just express yourself somewhere else. But the somewhere else is owned by a big guy that is literally sucking the dick of the government. So, I mean, show me an alternative that's not doing that.
Post-divestiture version of TikTok. The government argued that the court should use the rational basis test, which is the lowest level of review. And not surprisingly, the government argued for rational basis review. And as we talked about, the standard there is that the government's actions have to be rationally related to a legitimate government interest. That is an extremely, extremely low bar. The government can usually come up with a rational reason, meaning basically any reason whatsoever that is related to a legitimate government interest.
All right.
Basically any governmental interest. So all the government has to do is show that there's a hypothetical connection between the interest and the statute's goals. So this litigation went up on appeal. In TikTok versus Garland, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia upheld the constitutionality of the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act. Now, the first question for the court was what standard of review to apply. And the court said, quote, "We conclude that the act implicates the First Amendment and is subject to heightened scrutiny. Whether strict scrutiny or intermediate scrutiny applies is a closer question. The relevant portions of the act are facially content neutral, but the government arguably based its content manipulation justification for the act upon the content on the platform."
This is basically lawyer talk in my experience. This is just basically lawyer talk for we'll think about it. And they need to decide if this is actually something that they want to do or not. The issue is there's such a bias from America to ban TikTok. Like such an obvious bias from like that every single person with the conspiracy theory hat on, like I am, I do like the chaos, but every single person that believes in like that there might be perhaps some shady shit that goes on behind the scenes at the government, no one is taking this seriously and thinking that this isn't going to be shady. Like, they conclude that the act implicates the First Amendment subject to the heightened scrutiny. Whether it's higher scrutiny, whether it's lower scrutiny, we'll decide later. Bro, the issue is America is biased. It's such a circle talk. It's literally talking in circles where nothing actually is said of legitimacy. Like, here's the thing. You know how when you have a court case and you have two people in court and the judge needs to decide who wins between the two people? If the judge is, let's say, the dad of one of the parties, the judge has to recuse themselves because they are obviously a biased party. America is a biased party. How on earth could they make a decision like this when they're financially motivated to do this? Literally financially motivated. I'm not just talking about national security. If they ban TikTok, then they get a better stranglehold on free speech through Facebook and all those other companies that are sucking, you know, America cock. On the other hand, literally on the other hand, all of these politicians are invested. They're all invested. They invest in Meta and then they vote TikTok out. Like, it's crazy. I wish they would actually police their own big tech to make sure they uphold freedom of speech shit a lot more than worrying about something like this, which I don't even know at this point what the danger is. It seems like the danger is only that it's owned by someone else. Again, don't know. Don't want to defend the TikTok guys here. Not gonna lie. This is really a chance for Trump to put his money where his mouth is, because he's always anti-censorship. So if he comes out here and he's anti-censorship, that would be insane.
We think it only prudent, therefore, to assume without deciding that the higher standard applied. Now, side note, what does a court mean when it says it assumes without deciding that a certain standard applies? Well, the court is declining to rule as a matter of law that a particular standard.
Of course, the court doesn't want to decide anything straight up and say something. They'd rather talk in circles, obviously.
Standard applies, usually because the outcome of a case would be the same regardless of which standard the court used. And in something that basically never happens, the Court of Appeals ruled that the government could clear the high bar set by strict scrutiny. Part one of the test is whether the government has a compelling interest. And the Court of Appeals said, quote, "The government offered two national security justifications.
All right.
One, to counter the PRC's efforts to collect great quantities of data about tens of millions of Americans."
I wonder what this matters, though. Okay, so let's say they have the data now. All right, listen, I know this is getting, this is very cringe, basic questions that I'm asking, but let's say they have the data. And? All right, so they know what the face of the little girl that's dancing to Justin Bieber lyrics is. All right, and? The danger is literally the information is owned by someone else, is afraid it's openly against America. All right. Or getting to the second one. The first one, I think, is weird and doesn't really make sense.
And 2, to limit the PRC's ability to manipulate content covertly on the TikTok platform.
This is the legitimate reason. This is 100% the legitimate reason. They're terrified. They are terrified that China is actively going to China. I'm good friends with China. I know China very well. It kind of gives the vibe that China is literally going to manipulate information in order to dictate and feed propaganda to people. That is a legitimate fear.
The former does not reference the content of speech or reflect disagreement with an idea or message.
See, I would love evidence for this. That would make me so excited. If there was some sort of evidence that somehow there is manipulated content covertly on TikTok, that would be incredible. I would love to see that shit. But the craziest thing is, by banning TikTok, you're making dumbasses, to be fair, but Americans, despite being dumbasses, they're gonna be like, China. I know China very well. They're literally better at free speech than America. America's slavery. America, we're still not free. There's no freedom in America, unlike China. China's freedom. They let you think, they let you talk. They're based in China. I know, my evidence is vibes. The evidence is vibes, but China knows. We're gonna make Mexico pay for China.
The court agreed with the government that China posed a, quote, hybrid commercial threat because it had adopted laws that enable it to access and use data held by Chinese companies. Now, does the US have any evidence that China has leveraged these relationships to access American data?
Please say no. Please don't say no.
Well, it's classified.
China.
Apparently.
All right, go download Red Note and tell them what you think about Taiwan.
Now, all this was appealed to the Supreme Court, and in the government's brief there, Attorney General Merrick Garland said Congress has received classified security briefings about TikTok. Theoretically, a court could have ordered the government to produce evidence from these briefings in an in-camera
yeah, that would be lovely.
secret review.
Yes. Why is there no transparency? God damn it, Trump. Listen, Trump, you keep talking about transparency. First day I'm in office, I'll tell you all about the drones, I'll tell you all the truth, all the water that Gavin Newscum has been hiding in LA. We're gonna tell you all the evidence, all the truth. We'll tell you why Kennedy was assassinated, all right? China. Bro, Trumpledore, please, be transparent about this shit, okay? Listen, we know you're against censorship, or at least that's what you say. Be transparent, no one's gonna believe you!
Which would ensure the information was kept secret, but so far no court has asked the government to provide evidence of those briefings.
Why? The Jews, they're controlling. Come on, guys!
So the national security threats are hypothetical.
Again, that's the issue with all these things. Because when you'll have a government that, by the way, no one trusts the government. I know this is a cringe take. You're probably not even gonna believe me when I say it, but no one trusts the government, or ever, literally never. They tell you shit, and the more they tell you shit, the less you trust them. Guys, there's no side effects to the COVID vaccine. The COVID vaccine, I know. I'm very friendly with the COVID vaccine. I know the COVID vaccine very well. There's no side effects to the COVID vaccine. Shocker, there was side effects to the COVID vaccine. Guys, the issue is they keep lying. Oh, Kamala, she's very ahead in the polls. Kamala's gonna win by a landslide. It's gonna be a landslide. Kamala's gonna win. Trump doesn't have a chance. There's only about 100,000 people that like Trump in the country. Yeah, that didn't age very well, did it, Mr. Mainstream Media? So the issue is, since they're so untrustworthy, when they're just gonna say, there are nebulous national security threats that are controlling shit, and we can't tell you about them, but we're going to ban your speech now. That is gross. That's awful.
The government predicts that if the Chinese government asks TikTok to, quote, manipulate content for censorship, propaganda, or other malign purposes, TikTok would try to comply with.
I mean, to be honest, they probably would. Let's be real. You think if the Chinese government says that shit, bro, the Chinese government, what was that Ma conspiracy? There was a whole conspiracy about this one guy in China got really rich. They ended up like fucking murdering him and stuff. Okay, dude, listen, I'm just listen, man, any fucking brainlet that's gonna be like, China's free, China understands freedom. You guys are fucking insane. Ma from Alibaba? I think so. He isn't dead, he's just done. There was this whole conspiracy that he got too powerful too quickly and they literally just completely cucked him. They like lobotomized that motherfucker and threw him back into the pool. Like, it is insane. You do not disobey or they will fucking torture your family. And I love how I'm gonna have people in my chat being like, oh, you're just brainwashed to be anti-China. Yeah, all right, sure. Yeah, all right. I've been to the sweatshops. Okay, all right. Listen, guys. Okay.
With that order. But TikTok asserted that the government's concerns about data collection were made in bad faith. America is the only member of the G7 without a federal data privacy legislation or unified approach to data governance. TikTok and many other apps collect large swaths of data about its users, including device information, IP address, keystroke patterns, activity across devices, browsing and search.
You run a sweatshop? No! No, 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 no. No, no, no. I've just seen what goes on. No, no, no. I have a family member that manufactures shit in China. And then, no, whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. All right, who do you think I am? Dream? You think I'm Tommy Innit running my merchant? Okay, whoa, guys.
History, etc., and location data. Now, this is my opinion, but if data collection is a national security threat, then maybe Congress should pass a data privacy law stopping Twitter and Facebook from collecting the same data as TikTok.
Yeah, but the difference is TikTok is owned by China, and China might be cringe. And China might decide to do some shit, whereas TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook are sucking American cock all the time.
You know, just a thought. But the Court of Appeals saw things differently. That the act does not fully solve the data collection threat posed by the PRC does not mean it was not a step in the right direction. And the court quoted liberally from the government's brief, stating, quote, "As Assistant Director of National Intelligence, Casey Blackburn explained, the PRC is the most active and persistent cyber espionage threat to the US government, private sector, and critical infrastructure networks."
But again, you gotta wonder what that is. Is it only if someone actually uploads things there? I mean, I guess if you have some moron, like there was this whole, controversy that happened. There was this video game called War Thunder. It's a game where you play as tanks and shit. And basically there was this one player who got upset that they misrepresented some of the stats of a specific tank because he knew, because his dad worked in like the US Marines or something, and he ended up uploading a schematic of the actual tank to buff his tank in War Thunder, and he accidentally committed treason by doing that. Like, he uploaded sensitive information. Like, so you got some dumb fucks out there, and obviously uploading that type of crap to TikTok is probably a lot more dangerous than it is to Facebook, but they're both completely and utterly illegal. Again, I just don't know what is exactly. War Thunder leaks happen a lot. That's very scary. But the thing is, I don't know what actual threat there is. Like, what are they doing? They get their IP addresses of users, like, and okay.
Its hacking program spans the globe and is larger than that of every other major nation combined. The PRC has pre-positioned itself for potential cyber attacks against US critical infrastructure by building out offensive weapons within that infrastructure. Consistent with that assessment, the government has found persistent PRC access in US critical telecommunications, energy, water, and other infrastructure. And the court noted that a bipartisan group of legislators concluded that China tracks user data. Quote, "Of particular relevance to the government's first justification for the act, the PRC has engaged in extensive and years-long efforts to accumulate structured datasets, in particular on US persons, to support its intelligence and counterintelligence operations."
But
so the court found that the government's two national security justifications were compelling state interest.
My question is, why does this even help? Why does this even actually help China? Okay, so China actually knows that there's an American girl that's 18 years old that does little dances in her bedroom in Cincinnati. Like, I don't know why that fucking matters. Unless you're actually directly uploading actual shit, I understand. Like, I don't know the fear. I'm not saying that there isn't a genuine fear here that the government actually knows about, but I really wish they would actually tell you things. I would wish they tells you stuff. Allegedly, it estimates your salary. An AI does that! Someone in China could go to Grok and literally type into Grok how it happens. Bro, Temu, Wish, Lemon8, they all have the same data. They all have the same data, but they don't get banned. I just want to know what TikTok does different than any of these other apps. That's what I want to know. That's what no one's telling me. This is a conspiracy, god damn it! And I'm definitely going to make more content out of the downfalls of idiots. That's what I do here.
And it's not surprising that the court deferred to the federal government's judgment about the severity of the national security threats. However, that's only the first part of the strict scrutiny test analysis. In part 2 of the test, the government has to show that the law is narrowly tailored to that interest, or that it's the least speech restrictive means available to the government. But TikTok proposed a number of less speech restrictive options that they argued could have satisfied the government's goals without burdening speach. Quote, "These include disclosure or reporting requirements, the government using speech of its own to counter any alleged foreign propaganda."
That's insane. That is insane. What kind of petition is this? That is wild. Listen, if there is propaganda being propagated on TikTok, why doesn't the government just, tell you it's not true? What are you, clowns? You really think that'll work? Bro, you really think that'll work, bro? Oh my fucking god, dude. These people are morons. Like, listen, if there ever is any propaganda on TikTok, why doesn't the government just say it's not true? It's a lie. Yeah, sure.
TikTok's collection of location and contact data, and extending the ban of TikTok on government devices to government employees' personal devices. But the court rejected these options, instead agreeing with the government that data collection and content manipulation are not the type of harm that can be remediated by disclosure.
100%. I completely agree with that. That makes complete sense. The problem is, I don't know what the I don't even know if there is any actual evidence that there is necessarily an algorithm propagandizing people. Like, I suppose it makes sense that there would be, but I would really love if there was actual transparent evidence about it.
Traditionally, the remedy for speech we disagree with is more speech. That's a foundational aspect of the First Amendment. But here the court...
True, but you definitely can't... That is definitely true. However, when there's propaganda being pushed into the minds of children on TikTok, literally just downloading this shit into their mind, their entire fucking social cue and perspective and personal ideology is just evolving because of a TikTok algorithm, literally brainwashing them. Bro, what are you trying to do? Are you really gonna get out there and turn on Fox News, and Fox News is gonna say, TikTok showed you a building exploding in Ukraine? That actually is not something that happened. What, you really think that that the kid is gonna believe that? Yes, you're right. Free speech fights free speech when it's relatively in even numbers. But when it's a kid that's being brainwashed by an algorithm, bro, this is a whole ass other thing.
Court rejects this principle entirely. The idea that the government can simply use speech of its own to counter the risk of content manipulation by the PRC is likewise naive.
I completely agree.
The court said, quote, the petitioner's attempt to frame the use of government speech
just me in the court. Me, Jaden Animations, and the court agree that this is a foolish notion
as a means of countering alleged foreign propaganda is beside the point. It is the secret manipulation of the content on TikTok, not foreign propaganda, that poses a grave threat to national security. No amount of government speech can mitigate that threat nearly as effectively as divestiture.
I mean, but what's the alternative? Is the alternative censorship? Like, I don't think these ideas necessarily need to be censored. I just wish there was a better way to do it than an algorithm literally designing it to brainwash you. What's worse for kids, TikTok or YouTube Kids? Oh, absolutely, no question. TikTok is worse. Literally no question. YouTube Kids is just brain rot. It's not ideological, at least from what I know. It's just dumb ass animations and cringe clips and shit. TikTok is propaganda. That's the fear, right?
The court also dismissed the TikTok creators' argument that the government could achieve its goals by banning TikTok from collecting the data. Quote, the data collection risks identified by the government include the feasibility to use TikTok for bulk collection of data and for targeted collection on individuals. But frankly, it's possible that the court is the one that misunderstands the bulk collection risks, not the TikTok creators. Lots of websites and social media platforms collect the same information about its users, and
Facebook, Twitter, all these websites, they literally all do that shit, but none of them get banned. Again, you gotta wonder if it's one of those crazy... Dude, the problem is the conspiracy theories make more sense than the actual explanation given. And whenever that happens, it is rife for some good chaos and some good content. It is just me and the content literally making out right now. Facebook got in trouble for this back in 2015, 2016. Yeah, but the thing is, the explanations they're giving is that there's a magic algorithm propagandizing children and they don't want to be transparent about their evidence. So when you see that, and you also see that all these people are getting rich because they're all investing in Facebook, and the moment TikTok gets banned, guess what's literally getting that influx of users? Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, all these people are making money off of it. Like, that's the craziest part. What's a more reasonable reason?
Sometimes more. Again, the US does not have a comprehensive data privacy law, and the court says that the government can't monitor what TikTok does, so it would have no way of knowing whether the app complied with the data collection regulations. As a result, the court says the only option that would meet the government's goals is full divestiture. But frankly, divestiture wouldn't even stop the data collection practices either. Say, for example, that ByteDance did sell the app to somebody else. That app is still free under American law to collect all that information and sell it.
Yeah, but to who? They probably won't have necessarily that allegiance to China. That's the thing that they're scared about, but they're not actually willing to say. God, these people are such fucking pussies. Come on, government. God damn it, why are you guys such losers? We believe in freedom of speech, which is why we're going to do things to censor people without telling you why. Very cool, America, very cool.
That means the law is wildly under-inclusive. And the law doesn't even apply to American companies like Facebook, which arguably has worse data collection and privacy practices than TikTok does. And TikTok also argued the law is over-inclusive, which means it includes more people and entities than it needs to achieve the law's purpose. The act applies to, quote, another ByteDance product, CapCut, that can be used to edit
CapCut's getting banned too? Bro, that's literally just an editing software.
Videos on various platforms, including TikTok, but does not collect user data or present an opportunity.
So why is this getting banned? But they think CapCut is gonna literally steal your data? It doesn't even collect data. It's just an editing tool.
For PRC manipulation of content.
God.
But the Court of Appeals concluded that everything related to ByteDance is theoretically just as harmful as TikTok.
God, dude, the conspiracy theory sounds so much more realistic than the real thing, bro. Oh my God, it's crazy. TikTok and CapCut are both already shut down in the US. Yeah, it got banned. Same company. Yeah, but who cares? Who cares if the company owns it? Why does that matter? Bro, Genshin Impact is owned by China. When are they banning Genshin Impact? I know they just fined Genshin Impact for like $20 million, which is basically nothing for Genshin Impact, who's raking in billions. But like, bro, what is going on?
And as for TikTok's free speech argument, the court said that the government is actually furthering free speech rather than hindering it. A foreign government threatens to distort free speech on an important medium of communication. Using its hybrid commercial strategy, the PRC has positioned itself to manipulate public discourse on TikTok in order to serve its own ends. The PRC's ability to do so is at odds with free speech fundamentals.
I mean, I do see that as well. I just really wish they actually provided evidence. Like, they're just saying shit. Like, this is insane.
Indeed, the First Amendment precludes a domestic government from exercising comparable control over a social media company in the United States. Here,
I mean, it's kind of like how they were so scared during the Cold War. I mean, this is like a really funny example. But like during the Cold War, right? Everyone was terrified that communism would take over. And like anyone that was even remotely related to communism would just get completely fucking mega cucked by the government. Like, it was a threat. It was an ideological threat, even though technically freedom of speech. Why should they? Why should they crack down on communism? I mean, you could literally ask this every generation. There's going to be some discussion to be had about this. Like at some point, there's going to be some destructive ideology that people are going to censor that way. I wonder, bro.
The Congress, as the executive proposed,
this just seems like a massive overstep. Like a massive overstep, because none of these people actually give a flying shit about anyone. None of these old people in Congress care about TikTok. They're all also getting rich based on this ban. So, guys, why? Why are they doing this?
Acted to end the PRC's ability to control TikTok. Understood in that way, the act actually vindicates the values that undergird the First Amendment. But I guess at least the court acknowledged that the act frequently referred to the content of TikTok's speech. Quote, in fact, the government identifies a particular topic, Taiwan's relationship to the PRC, as a significant potential flashpoint that may be a subject of the PRC's influence operations, and its declarants identify other topics of importance to the PRC. And yet the court agreed with the government that, quote, the act is not an effort to control the flow of ideas to the public.
I mean, obviously that's what they're gonna say. But the thing is, are people gonna believe them? The government's saying this is not about censorship. All right, 170 million people are being censored though. So it might not be about censorship, but broskies. Dude, the crazy thing is Trump's win, I think, actually is changing the world, like in an unbelievable way. Like, dude, I'm scared and excited to see what happens. And all the content that I'm gonna make over the next 4 years.
But TikTok lost in the Court of Appeals, and then
it's not about censorship, it's about pocket lining. But the issue is, who's gonna believe you? Okay, so it's not about censorship. So you're doing censorship not because of censorship? Is that cool?
Appealed to the Supreme.
I remember Nux saying America's the only country with free speech and the EU doesn't have the turns table. No, I still fully believe that America's the only country really with free speech. I know that might sound cringe because they just banned TikTok, but I don't think banning TikTok to make themselves richer. And by the way, they also engaged in censorship, like on the side. Like, bro, ultimately, US has absolutely, factually the best freedom of speech. People don't get arrested for social media posts. Unless they're, inciting violence or whatever the fuck. Like, dude, you can send a mean tweet and go to jail in England or in Canada. Or you could get literally murdered in Russia or in China. Like, dude, I'm just saying. I am just super saying. America is pretty much the only country with real free speech. And I really hope that it gets better because even America seems to have a long way to go.
Court. The justices agreed to fast-track the briefing and held arguments on January 10th, 9 days before the law was set to go into effect. See, when the Supreme Court wants to fast-track something like a private business interest, they can. But it's good that they took 2 years to decide US versus Trump.
There is no way he's trying to make believe this is like a big Trump manipulation. How does Legal Eagle do this every time? By the way, I just want to say video until here was super informative and really good. Bro, why are you so salty, man? Oh my God. Yes, the orange man won. Okay, they took so long against Trump because they were trying to freaking get a president, bro. He was the president of the United States. Obviously, this shit takes time. Bro, everything takes time. It's the government. Oh my God.
Because that obviously wasn't as important as a dance app.
That sentence is so insane. What do you mean it wasn't important? I know it was sarcasm, but dude, oh my God. You're calling TikTok a dance app? He just reads like 40 pages of government legislature talking about how it's a threat to national security. And he's like, it's a dance app. But Orange Guy called a woman fat. I know, he also did some other pretty heinous shit. But whatever, bro.
Now, obviously, if you're operating a social media network,
Just look at his Trump video views. No, it can't be about the views. It has to be some sort of ideology, right? There's no way it's just the views. There's no way it's just the views, especially because Trump. All right, so California wildfire, Trump, 700K. Blake Lively, all right, who cares? Matt Gaetz, Honey, ABC. All right, Trump, that one's Trump. No, his Trump videos actually do the worst. Trump, you see, Luigi, 1.6. Trump, 700. Drake versus Kendrick, 1.2. FBI, all right, 2.4, 1.2. Trump, InfoWars, Marcus Brownlee, Trump. I don't know, man. It's pretty average. I don't know, bro. But whatever.
you'll want a good lawyer.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. All right, yeah.
But if you want a great lawyer,
Oh my God! Stop! He does that every time. Yeah, but anyway, it is pretty crazy. It is crazy. We'll see what happens when Trump actually has power. Like, the fact that this is all happening at the brink of his actual election is insane.
the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act, clearing the way for TikTok to be banned in the US on Sunday. The court ruled that the US government has a compelling interest in protecting sensitive user data from potential misuse by foreign adversaries, particularly the Chinese government. TikTok apparently poses a significant risk to American citizens because of ByteDance's ties to China, which could enable unauthorized access to personal data of US users. The Supreme Court ruled, quote, "There's no doubt that for more than 170 million Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, means of engagement, and source of community. But Congress has determined that divestiture is necessary to address its well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices in relationship with a foreign adversary."
The issue is there's no good answer. Like, right now, they're stuck literally between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, we want the freedom of speech. On the other hand, we don't want an algorithm literally propagandizing people because it's controlled by a foreign government. But what's the alternative, bro? Literally, what's the alternative? Facebook? Yeah, really? Facebook is not engaging in censorship, bro? Really? Dude, Elon Musk got pissed off that Asmongold called him a fraud in a video game and he removed his checkmark. Okay? Twitter's not engaged in censorship? It is! They all play this fucking game. Literally every single one of these. I don't know, bro.
For the foregoing reasons, we conclude that the challenge provisions do not violate petitioners' First Amendment rights. Now, the first takeaway from this opinion is that the court found that the act was a content-neutral restriction.
Yeah, because they could just post their content somewhere else, which leaves you with many questions, because whatever the somewhere else is, it's under control by someone else.
A restriction is content-based if it regulates speech because of the subject matter, idea, or message being conveyed. Several US lawmakers expressed concerns about Chinese propaganda when they drafted the act. However, the court did not consider evidence suggesting that the act targeted certain viewpoints. Quote, "We are especially wary of parsing Congress's motives on this record with regard to an act passed with striking bipartisan support." Now, bipartisan legislation is rare, but that doesn't say anything about whether something is constitutional or not. And the court ruled that the government, quote, "had a content-neutral justification for the act," quote, "preventing China from collecting vast amounts of sensitive data from 170 million US TikTok users." Now, content-neutral laws are generally subject to intermediate scrutiny, which, as we discussed, is less rigorous than strict scrutiny. And just like the DC Circuit, the Supreme Court, quote, "assumed without deciding that the challenge provisions fall within this category and are subject to First Amendment scrutiny." So they engage in a First Amendment analysis, just not strict scrutiny, because they claim it's content neutral. Now, the second takeaway from the court's opinion is that the act apparently balanced the government's national security interest with petitioners' First Amendment rights. Quote, "The act's prohibitions and divestiture requirements are designed to prevent China, a designated foreign adversary, from leveraging its control over ByteDance Limited to capture the personal data of US TikTok users. This objective qualifies as an important government interest under intermediate scrutiny."
But, like, if you're an American, like, do you really care that China's stealing your data? Oh, China knows your date of birth? Oh God, China knows your date of birth. Do you really give a flying bitch? You don't, because Facebook also knows your date of birth, and so does Twitter, and so does YouTube. All of them also flow from date of birth, literally. So why do you care that China knows your date of birth? Like, this is, like, we're living in a democracy, or at least we're supposed to be living in a democracy, right? And then it reminds you every once in a while that it's not really a democracy. It's like a constitutional republic. It's all about the fucking old guys in the room that make the decision.
Now, how does the act protect the First Amendment rights of the petitioners, including TikTok and Americans who use the app? Well, as to the company's rights, it doesn't impose an outright ban, meaning the company can still operate in the US if it satisfies the conditional divestiture requirement, meaning its parent company has to divest. And as for TikTok users, the act does not prevent users from expressing their ideas through other platforms or means. It targets the operational structure of TikTok, not the ability of users to create and share content. And if TikTok is no longer available, users can post the same content to other platforms.
Yeah, that's the main argument. It's like, we're not censoring you. You can still post all this shit just somewhere else. Somewhere else. maybe owned by some other shadow government. Listen, but no one actually is going to be satisfied by any of this. It's literally just going to cause more chaos, which means more Nux content. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too upset.
I am not saying I agree with it, I am saying that's what the court's rationale was. The Supreme Court took the government's security rationale seriously. Apparently more seriously than President Biden or incoming President Trump, which we will discuss. The court deferred to Congress's determination that the threat was real. Quote, sound policymaking often requires legislators to forecast future events and to anticipate the likely impact of these events based on deductions and inferences for which complete empirical support may be unavailable. And here, apparently, the government's TikTok-related data collection concerns do not exist in isolation. The record reflected that China, quote, has engaged in extensive and years-long efforts to accumulate structured data sets, in particular on U.S. persons, to support its intelligence and counterintelligence operations. Really, and the court believed Congress when it said China is gathering information on U.S. users for nefarious purposes. The government cited Chinese law.
Zuck just said that he's for free speech to use Facebook. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he said he's for free speech because Trump won. All right, if Trump wouldn't have won, he wouldn't have been for free speech, or he wouldn't have said it. Like, these people, they're all flakes, every single one of them. While the Biden administration was in, he wasn't for free speech. Now the Trump, who's running on a pro-free speech ticket, is going in now suddenly he's pro-free speech. Like, literally every single one of these people are grifters. Every single one. Literally all of them.
Which compels companies to turn over information if China demands it as proof that TikTok posed serious dangers. Now, other applications...
Yeah, there's still no real proof that they actually posed any dangers.
Also,
we can't really know that. You're right, but that's my opinion, and that's my guess. And you will never convince me out of it.
For a large swath,
I think most people are grifters.
Of American user data, but the court said this case should not be interpreted as limiting what those apps can do with your data. While we find that differential treatment was justified here, however, we emphasize the inherent narrowness of our holding. Data collection and analysis is a common practice in this digital age, but TikTok's scale and susceptibility to foreign adversary control, together with the vast swaths of sensitive data the platform collects, justify differential treatment to address the government's national security concerns. Now, the government made bold claims about the Chinese government's ability to control messages.
All right, that's what I wanted to see, because I think this is the only one that actually is legitimate. All the other ones are like kind of bullshit, right? Like, you gotta realize, they're getting your data. All right, so is every other company in the fucking country. All right, dude.
The app by manipulating the TikTok algorithm.
All right, let's go.
But the Supreme Court sidestepped that issue. Quote, the record before us adequately supports the conclusion that Congress would have passed the challenge provisions based on the data collection justification alone. So that's it. The law goes into effect. But what happens now?
All right, Trump time.
Well, President Biden has the power to grant extensions under the act if certain requirements are met, but instead Biden has just announced that he will just not enforce the law.
Biden! Woo! Yeah, baby! Good point. Yeah, Biden won't enforce the law. Bro, the law's already been enforced. TikTok is banned on every single freaking account. It's literally banned on my... Here, let me see. Let me try to open TikTok. Let's see. All right, I think I still have TikTok. Do I even still have it? Never mind. I don't have TikTok anymore. I deleted it a long time ago. Yep. Anyway, I do not have TikTok, so can't try it. But it's literally banned on everybody's phone. All right? So don't tell me that he's going to enforce the law. Bro, literally, he's done in 2 days. Dude wasn't even here for the last year and a half. Yeah, all right, dude.
Which is cool. I didn't know a president could do that.
You didn't know a president could go against the law? You made 40 videos about Trump.
No, because of the whole take care clause of the Constitution, which requires the president to faithfully execute the laws of this country.
Oh, no. Dude, but the crazy thing is, it's like, you gotta always wonder. There's always a layer deeper into what the law actually is.
But President Hot Dog Man, who signed the bill into law.
This guy, no! He signed the bill into law. He sees people are upset, and now he's like, don't worry, guys. Everybody, we're gonna fight it.
Says that he will not impose any fines on TikTok during the last few days of his presidency, and will just let incoming President Trump deal with it. So that's fun, which is odd because the entire rationale for the law is that this is about dire national security concerns.
Yeah, that's why no one's buying it. Like, that's the crazy part. That's why the conspiracy theories are so fun. By the way, I, for one, am enjoying the conspiracy theories immensely. It's very cool to watch people freak out about this, which ultimately probably doesn't matter to anyone, except for maybe the 170 million people that are getting dicked over. Aside from them, who cares? Am I right, guys? But, no, for real, though, like, bruh, this is hilarious.
Now, Trump has indicated that he will also sign an executive order that also refuses to enforce this law. But again, generally speaking, the president doesn't have the authority to just not enforce valid laws that have been passed.
I mean, true. But like, I mean, listen, this guy has been literally, Legal Eagle's been going on a tirade about how Trump breaks the laws all the time. All right, listen. Now he's like, Trump break the law? That's never happened before. I can't even fathom such a thing. No, but for real, if there is a law, then I don't think Trump should just sit down and break it. Like, I do think Trump could do something incredibly funny, and literally talk about constitutions and somehow extend this for a 90-day period, find a way to appeal it, maybe find a way that ownership could actually go through someone like some American instead of the Chinese party, like come up with some sort of just compromise in regards that'll change the final verdict of the court. But if he actually just says, fuck the courts, fuck the laws, Gen Z needs me, I'll be your daddy, and he just institutes that, that would be insane. That would be actually fucking a little bit scary, not gonna lie. That would be a little bit terrifying, but that would be insane.
But like, you know, whatever.
But whatever, it's Trump, am I right, guys?
Even our laws. Like,
what even our laws, am I right? I mean, Trump just apparently, Trump allegedly just released a shitcoin, so like, I mean.
Like many of you, I probably spend way too much time on TikTok, time that I'd rather spend learning new things and getting the same gratification that I get while swiping through videos.
Yeah, to be honest though, just stay away from TikTok, guys. Like, why? Why waste your time on TikTok? It does nothing for you.
Which is why even before the TikTok ban, I've been using an app that actually improves my understanding of practical human.
I wonder if it'll be a sponsor of this video.
In psychology, economics, philosophy, and history, which are topics that I'm actually deeply passionate about.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that most of the people on TikTok do not actually give a fuck about philosophy and history, okay?
The app is called Imprint, and they were kind enough to sponsor us without knowing they'd be attached to a video about their TikTok. An app they specifically designed.
All right, anyway, we got the idea. So anyway, this has been all the legalese, legal jargon. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. All in all, it'll be great. All right, so we got TikTok guy himself literally glazing Trump. All right, we got this dude over here talking about how Trump is gonna find the solution, which is wild. Like, dude. Bro, Trump is not in office yet, and everyone's already, like, we got James Charles 180ing. This has been a very exciting situation for me alone, because I am not affected by this, and other people are. So I will monetize their misery. Thank you so much for being here. And remember to stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.